We're talking today about the nature and the sort of structure of BruinIRB. And so I'll get right into it. So, oh, I won't get right into it. Since I always get this question in the chat, I'm just going to preemptively tell you that everyone who registered, even if they didn't attend, will get a copy of these slides and a copy of a draft protocol template for biomedical studies with subject content and a draft protocol supplement template for adults not able to consent. And so there you go. We're also in the middle of finalizing these templates. So you are an important stakeholder to us, all of you, and they're being reviewed by other stakeholders as well. So if you have any questions or concerns or feedback, we would welcome that. And you can email that to bruinirb@research.ucla.edu. So as you take a look at the draft templates, please let us know if you notice something that doesn't make sense to you or could use better explanation, etc. So thanks so much. All right, now we'll get into it. So just to give you the overview, because we always like to start with the overview, we are currently using WebIRB for expedited and full board and exempt research. We've moved some other things over to BruinIRB, like reliance applications and abbreviated applications. But WebIRB, which we are using for some of our applications still, was launched as a highly customized application with our great team at ORIS, putting together an application exactly to our specifications. Used a lot of branching logic, which means how you answer a question will like open up new pages in the application. And so what we did for WebIRB is that we purchased and use a platform from a company called Huron. They are no longer going to support the platform. So really, it's only a matter of time before the whole system crashes. I don't mean to, raise the alarm, but this is why we have to switch to a new system. So we are taking this as a great opportunity to improve our process. So BruinIRB will launch for all remaining applications this fall. It has a much shorter electronic application, and it mostly sort of conceptually relies on having a lot of the substantive information for the IRB to make their determinations included in document uploads. So because it's document uploads, it's a much more agile system. So if there are changes in the regulations, we need to ask different questions, we can just update our templates, and then you can use that template. We'll let you know if that happens. We'll have a learn at lunch if that happens, but we don't have to rely on programming to make those changes as they're needed. Any question about the overview? All right, we'll keep going. All right, so you're here to learn about the protocol templates. Oh, oops, I don't know why I'm moving along. Hold on, there we go. So just before we get started, I wanted to talk a little bit about what we mean by a protocol. So in BruinIRB, for OHRP purposes and IRB purposes, we are defining a protocol as the sum of the information the IRB needs to understand the nature of the research and gather sufficient information to make regulatory determinations. So that's what we mean by protocol. So lots of different people have different ideas of what a protocol is, but that's what we need in the application. So what that means is that we have main protocol templates, and what those templates do is they give us sort of like the basic application. The protocol template, the biomedical subject contact protocol template is sort of all of the questions we need to ask no matter what kind of study you're running. In addition to that, we have a number of supplements, and you'll be triggered to complete supplements how you answer questions throughout the main protocol template. So it's sort of like an analog version of our branching logic. You'll have prompts in there to determine, like, for instance, if there are special regulatory determinations the IRB needs to make, there may be supplements for that. If you're researching certain populations, there may be supplements for that. So basically that's how it works. So on this nondescript ACME protocol. Let's say there are 3 supplements needed. That's sort of a lot, but maybe there would be. But I'm going to go into some specific examples just to sort of help you conceptualize what we mean by this. So I made up a study. It's just zipping by. Okay. So I made up a study. It's a double-blind clinical trial of psilocybin versus placebo for the treatment of agitation and dementia. Okay. So just from the title, I can tell you that we'll need the biomedical protocol template, and we'll need the supplement for adults not able to consent because these are patients with dementia. So there needs to be a discussion of how much capacity they might have in this population, et cetera. So that would be for that protocol, the 2 documents you would upload to make the entire protocol for the IRB to review. But there are other ways to do this. This is just if you are not, this is sort of the layout we would expect for this kind of a study if this is an investigator who hasn't developed a separate protocol yet at the time of IRB submission. So this could act in place of a protocol for that particular investigator using our template. All right, so here's another way this can happen. I don't know why I just keep zipping forward. All right, in this example, it's the same study, but let's say this investigator already submitted to the FDA for an IND for the psilocybin to treat agitation and dementia for this research study. So there might be a protocol already submitted to the FDA that they would use as sort of like part of the application. So they'd upload that, and then there might be parts of the application, the protocol that was sent to the FDA that don't have sufficient detail for the IRB to be able to make determinations, since the FDA has sort of a different role, like task to complete than the IRB does. You know, each have our own little purposes. So we'd ask you to give us the FDA protocol that you already have, plus whatever portions of the biomedical protocol template for subject contact that are not sufficiently fleshed out in that FDA protocol. So we recommend that you go through your protocol and then go through the template to fill out anything that's not covered. And in addition to that, there would probably be the adults not able to consent supplement that you would need to fill out for this particular protocol, special population. Any questions about the sort of organization of the protocol templates and how that's going to work? Okay, and we'll keep going. So how do you find these templates? There are many places you will be able to find the templates. The first thing you can do, well, one of the places you can look for it is inside BruinIRB. There are these help text icons with a question mark. If you click on the help text icon, you'll get a pop-up. And at the question where you're asked to upload the protocol, sorry about that. You'll get this pop-up window, which will include all of the templates and all of the supplements we have. So it currently has the templates for the applications that are currently being received through BruinIRB, things like emergency use, right to try, humanitarian use device, expanded access, compassionate use. But there will also be the standard biomedical protocol for human subjects research with subject contact. There'll be a social, behavioral, and educational research protocol template for subject contact, and then there'll be a no subject contact template. And I'm not giving you all of these right now. We're just going to like sort of give things to you in small bite-sized pieces. But all of those are being developed, and all of those will be up in the help text inside BruinIRB. All right, the next place you can look for it is inside our inside our web page. So you'll see at the top here, you've got a bunch of tabs. We are developing a revision to our website that will add a tab for electronic submission systems. And inside that, there will be either a drop-down or there'll be a link inside that page for all of the templates. So that'll be coming, and we'll announce it in our HRN, so you can take a look at that. But that's a second place you can find these protocol templates and protocol supplement templates. Moving on, there is Additionally, inside the protocol, the main protocol templates, all three of them, the no subject contact, the biomedical subject contact, and the SBER subject contact, there will be links to the supplements that you may need to complete depending on the population or the regulatory determinations you're seeking with your application. So then, as I said before, you're all going to get copies of the draft biomedical subject contact template. And we have instructions at the beginning of all of the templates, the main protocol templates, on how to fill them out, and what applications they could be used for, how to navigate through it. So for instance, those are the instructions. Feel free to delete the instructions for submission, but we won't ding you if you leave it in. So there's an index on the very first page, and I don't know why it does this. Okay, the index on the very first page will link to all the different sections in the protocol template. So for those of you who have PCs, you can also collapse and expand the sections below. Unfortunately, we have not figured out a solution for people who use Microsoft Word for Macs, but I'm sorry about that. So the templates will be uploaded in this expanded state, because that way everyone with Macs can also use the same document. All right, so there are two types of responses you can give in these templates, both the supplements and the main study templates. They're either checkboxes or there's free text. And you can see examples of this here. So for this particular question, you could either check a box that says this is included in a separate scientific protocol. So for instance, in the example I gave, where there's an FDA protocol developed for the FDA to submit for an IND application, you could check the box that says the scientific, the investigator's experience and preliminary work is listed in that protocol, if it is. Or you could simply fill out the free text section, saving as you go, of course, always. But this, I believe this bar will expand to the size of the text that you put in it. And then if you're the other things, the check boxes. So we have pulled from, you'll notice we've pulled from WebIRB the idea of providing you a lot of options for certain questions. For instance, this recruiting and screening participants section. So we've expanded on the possible sections. We've updated it. Technology has changed. You can pick one of these options if that is what you would like to do. You can also check other. We are not, we do not want you to be constrained by the imagination of us. If you know of another method for recruitment that you would like to propose, please do check other and describe it. You can also put a clarification in the text box for these kind of questions where there are multiple answers checked. Perhaps you have different cohorts and they're going to be recruited in different methods, as an example. So it's really important for you to not think that you can only do the types of recruitment that are listed. There's always the other option. And the IRB will consider it. And if there are concerns with that it might not be regulatorily allowed, they'll let you know. They'll sort of talk about the minimizing the risks of that method or privacy issues of that method, but there'll be a conversation. It won't just be, these are the only things you can do. All right, I'll get off my soapbox. And then there's a footer for the document in the template. And you'll notice here, we've got on the left side, that's our version control for OHRPP. We, as I said before, may be modifying the template in order to adjust to different regulations that come up, new guidance we get from regulators, et cetera. So this is our stuff so you don't want to mess with that. You don't want to mess with the page numbers because you want to be able to figure out where things are. But you can, if you'd like, create a version date for your version, your completed version of this protocol, if you choose to use it. And you can either use the version number, the date, both, neither. It's up to you. But that is what you are welcome to modify. In a future Learn at Lunch session, we're going to talk about how to create a new study application. And in that presentation, we'll discuss document version control, which is what we'll use to sort of figure out what is the new version of a thing. So again, this is optional, but that is what you can modify if you'd like. So what we'll do is we're going to explain a lot more about the system. We're trying to give it to you in little bite-sized pieces to prepare you and get you thinking about the process. But we have plenty more Learn at Lunch presentations planned. They were in the last Human Research News, which you can access by going to our webpage. If you scroll down, it's at the bottom of our webpage. That includes registration links to all the other sessions, as well as a recording link for the past session. And we'll update that with new Human Research News. And we'll include updates to the recordings, the links to recordings for past sessions. So now that I've covered what I'd like to cover, I would love to open it up and get questions from all of you. It's entirely clear, no question. Surely there must be one question or, oh, here we go. We got something in the chat. Are we able to edit the document date and version on the left, even though you don't want us to edit them? No, I'm going to try to lock it if I can, because that is our OHRPP version of the template. It's not your version. So there's a version date on the right side, which is the investigator's version date, which you can edit, but not our side. And when do we anticipate having the templates available? Well, as I said, you're going to get the draft template via email shortly after the session is over. We are just waiting for finalized feedback from some stakeholders, including the chairs of the committees. We're meeting with them next week, so hopefully soon. I love these questions. We'll keep going. For studies that are migrating from WebIRB to BruinIRB, will we need to fill out these protocol templates? No, you will not have to do that. We're going to be having Oris do a screenshot, like put a screenshot of your application from WebIRB into BruinIRB as your protocol, in addition to protocol documents if you have those. It's a great question. Let's see, will we be able to click on continuing reviews over the years and easily review previous CR submissions? Well, WebIRB is going to be open for a while after the studies are transitioned over, but we can't keep it open forever. So I would recommend that you go in there and download whatever documents you need. And we'll give you plenty of warning before the system will be inaccessible. But we have to keep a version of it in some form. Not quite sure how that's going to work for auditing purposes, but there won't be an easy way for investigators to access it after the period of time of transition, which will be a long time coming. But do start looking at downloading stuff that you need from WebIRB.
Reese, when does this application go live?
We are going live with the system in, I believe, the beginning of September is our current go live date this is for expedited and full board, not human subjects application, exempt applications, everything that has not yet been transitioned to BruinIRB.
And then is this only an application for the transition from WebIRB to BruinIRB, or will this also apply to the existing current BruinIRB?
I'm not quite sure I understand. The thing I was talking about today, the protocol templates, are for new applications in BruinIRB after the transition happens. Does that answer your question or no?
Does that mean that our current Bruin application right now that we'll use currently today will change into this system too?
You mean things that are currently submitted through BruinIRB?
Yes.
Oh, okay. No, nothing changes with those. We've already transitioned those types of applications to BruinIRB. So this is for when the UCLA IRB is reviewing human research protocols. That's sort of like, we've got the Reliance stuff already transitioned. We've got the abbreviated applications already transitioned. So now this is just like the bulk of the rest of our applications are going to be transitioned over.
Okay, thank you.
Another question, are we able to move our smart form from WebIRB into a protocol template if we want to once in BruinIRB? Well, if you have Adobe Pro, you might be able to turn the PDF screenshot into a Word document. I would talk with your local, when it gets a little closer, I would talk with your local IT support people, but I don't think it's actually necessary, because if you are modifying your protocol, your application, you could just upload a document with the things that are changing. You know, you can take the protocol template and modify just the parts that are going to change with an amendment as a way to do that. But great questions. We're going to have a session all about migration of existing studies from WebIRB to BruinIRB a little later on this summer. So do register for that, because Rebecca, I believe, is going to do that, and she is got all of the answers for all of you. I just have some of the answers, so I'm happy to give what answers I have. Any other questions about the protocol templates, how to use that, how it's going to look? You know, this is all a little amorphous because we're giving you bite-sized chunks of what's going to happen, but it'll become more clear as you attend more of these sessions over the summer, how the process will work. So, and we're always going to be here to support you in the transition. You're not going to be left in the wilderness to figure it out. If your team wants to have a special training on the process as we get closer, let us know. We can arrange for, in addition to our lunches, we can have sessions for your team if that's needed, to answer questions, anything we need to do to make everyone feel a little more prepared for the transition. I'm going to stop the share. Any other questions?